If you're looking for a budget-friendly and delicious cut of Canadian beef, you gotta try TriTip.
We're Maddie and Kiki, and we're gonna show you how easy it is to grill it over charcoal on the big green egg.
The first thing you want to do is locate yourself some lump charcoal. This is what we're going to use to start the big green egg. So all you need to do is dump some in the bottom, get yourself a lighter cube. If you're thinking here that you're using lighter fluid, don't do it.
Absolutely not.
It's disgusting. It absolutely has no place around food. It could not get easier than this too. Get a lighter cube, make a little nest in the lump charcoal, get a lighter.
It basically takes 20 minutes and then you're there.
You want to take some of the pieces of lump and arrange them around so as the lighter cube catches on fire, it will start to ignite the lump charcoal.
Before we get started, this goes without saying, you gotta wash those hands. Wash them right up. So this is a tri-tip. It's also known as beef bottom sirloin, culotte, even a boomerang cut because it looks like a boomerang. Basically, it's got 3 tips on it, and for this particular recipe, we're cutting off the tips and basically squaring up that roast. We ordered this from our local butcher. It comes with the fat cap on, but most great butchers, you can ask them to take it off. We like to do it ourselves because it's fun.
And it's easy. Once you do it a few times, you get used to it, you know what to do, you know what to looking for, and you can control how much fat you leave on the cut as well.
Plus, you get to keep the fat.
Oh. You can use those leftover bits in things like chili, stew, soups. Just definitely do not throw those away. Set them aside for later.
Get that delicious marbling. You know that's gonna be a flavorful piece of beef. So now we're gonna square off the meat. You might be looking at this and thinking you're about to cut with the grain of meat. This we're going against the grain, but this next cut coming up, we're gonna be cutting with the grain of meat. That's all right here. That's the only time you're gonna be cutting with the grain, because when you go to eat the steak and slice it, that's when you're gonna be slicing it against the grain, which makes for a tender, delicious piece of meat.
So it might be a little bit confusing, but like I said, once you do this 1 or 2 times, you'll know exactly what to do and it'll become second nature to you.
So the beauty of cutting steak at home yourself is that you can determine how thick or thin you want your steak. You can see here, we went thick.
Yeah, we went for the big boys. If you wanted to, you could probably get 4 pieces out of this.
I wanted mine thick. I'm allowed to have them thick.
I'm not judging you. Now we're gonna get our grill grates into the big green egg because we have to preheat the grill. This is one of the most important steps to grilling anything. People are always asking us, how do you make food not stick to the grill? It's all in the preheat.
We're grilling with the big green egg. You'll notice there aren't any buttons on this grill. This grill is all about controlling the temperature through the daisy wheel at the top and through the vent at the bottom. The more air you allow into the grill, the hotter the grill will be.
Now we're gonna put together the marinade. It's nice and simple. It comes together in just a second. We're putting ours together in a glass container because this is gonna double as the vessel that we're gonna marinate the steaks in. We're gonna take out 2 tablespoons to reserve to add into our melted onions later on. Set this aside.
Now here is the ultimate pro tip. If you got yourself a fork, you can tenderize meat. All you're gonna do is get your fork and poke it through the steak. Poke it through the top, flip it over, poke it through the bottom, and that actually tenderizes the beef even more than it already is. This is a very succulent, tender cut, but this just makes it even more succulent.
And it's so easy to do. Then just get the steak, toss them around in the marinade, make sure to turn them a few times to get the marinade on all sides of them. Then before handling the container, make sure to remove those gloves. We don't want any cross-contamination here. Throw those away. Shut the container and make sure to refrigerate this for at least an hour. It's difficult to wait, but it'll be worth it. After the hour, take them out of the fridge and we're gonna remove the steaks from the marinade.
And you're gonna get a piece of paper towel and pat the steaks dry. This might seem a little bit weird because you're like, am I patting off the flavor? But you're not patting off the flavor. The flavor's now penetrated the meat. The reason why you want to do this is because dry meat gets those delicious grill marks that we're all after.
Yes, if it's too wet, it'll end up just steaming in there and you won't get that nice crusty exterior. So just pat them off until they're a little bit dry. Now we've got our grill preheated a little bit above 450 range. We want this piping hot because we are cooking these hot and fast over direct heat. We always like to say a clean grill is a happy grill. So get out a grill brush and make sure you brush those grates down. We always recommend that you also replace your grill brush every season because if you don't, the bristles can come loose and actually end up in your food and cause a lot of damage if they get into your tummy.
If you grill as much as we do, you might want to change that grill brush maybe every 2 months.
Yeah. We're gonna place the steaks right in the center of the grill. That's where all the heat is. And we want to just use our fingers and push the meat down so every bit of the steak is adhering to the grill grates. That's what's gonna give us that nice color when we go to flip the steaks.
And it's important, we're saying a light push, not a squeeze the juices out, a nice, delicate, light push down, just so that the entire surface area of the steak is in contact with the grill grates.
Use a gentle hand here.
Yeah.
You'll see as soon as we close the lid, the temperature starts to climb right back up. If you're looking, you ain't cooking.
Yep.
Do not lift that lid.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Oh my goodness gracious, the smell's coming out of this grill.
You can always tell when your steaks are ready to be flipped if they're not sticking to the grill grates. If they're sticking, they're trying to tell you, I'm not ready. Don't go ahead and yank on them and sit there trying to pull them apart. If they're ready to be flipped, they come away easily from the grill grates and you can easily flip them over. Look at that nice golden exterior. It's crunchy, it's crispy, it's delicious.
Ooh, that looks so good.
Beautiful color.
That's the big green egg for you. These steaks were ready to be turned roughly around 4 minutes. But it is imperative that you get yourself a good meat thermometer and that you cook your steaks to an internal temperature for however you want your steaks cooked. That's why we don't really like to talk about time when it comes to grilling, because when you're charcoal grilling, different things can affect the temperature of the grill. The weather climate, whether it's raining, whether it's in the middle of summer and it's humid. So that's why we don't focus so much on time, we focus on temperature. These babies are being cooked to a perfect 145 medium rare.
Once the steaks come off the grill, we're just gonna get a piece of aluminum foil and lightly tent them. The goal here is not to cover the plate entirely really tight. You just wanna put the foil lightly on top and create a little bit of a dome over top of the steaks and allow them to rest for at least 10 minutes. If you're thinking for 1 second that you need to rush that rest period for 1 second, if you're like, oh, I just gotta the kids gotta go to soccer, we gotta hurry up.
The kids can wait. Do not rush the steak resting.
It's just not gonna be as juicy. The juices are gonna run all over the plate and you're gonna regret it later.
We want the juices in the steak and then in the tummy.
And that gives you time to start cutting up your bread. And we like to cut our bread into 4 equal sandwiches here. 1 baguette always makes 4 perfect portions. So we just trim the ends off and then cut them down the center. Add a little bit of olive oil and just brush it on because we're going back to the grill.
The charcoal will stay hot for up to 6 hours. No tending, no nothing. It stays hot. So get the most out of your charcoal by putting everything that you're making on the grill. We're making caramelized onions and the bread.
Even after the bread is long done, you still have a lot of heat in there. If you have some squash in the house, some potatoes, feel free to wash those up and throw those on because like Maddie said, that will be going for a long time. Don't be worried if once the bread hits the grill, you'll see the flames starting to happen here. That's only happening because some of the oil has dripped down and hit the coals there. That's perfectly normal. Just make sure you're using tongs and your hands are out of the way.
Look at those grill marks.
Give it to me.
You gotta give a round of applause for beautiful grill marks like that.
After a couple minutes, it does not take long. Beautiful crust. See, you can't help but be proud when you grill up something like that. Now our steaks are ready to slice. And as Maddie said, now we are cutting against the grain. You wanna cut them nice and thin like that. And these are the slices that are gonna be going on top of our sandwich. So cut them as thick or thin as you want.
You might be thinking, that is one heck of a big knife, but trust us, these steaks are so tender, you could literally use a butter knife to slice them.
If you really wanted to, you could also add chunks of wood to the big green egg while you're cooking your steaks. That's really up to you.
Beef really holds up to hickory wood, pecan wood, but we're here in Canada, we love our maple wood.
Yes, we do.
The meat thermometer doesn't lie. Look at how perfectly cooked those are.
Someone had to come in and sneak a taste?
Yeah, when someone's slicing and someone's on camera duty, that someone's gonna run in for a taste.
Look at how tender. It's literally pull apart. Oh yeah, that looks so good. Then we just need to pile it on top of our grilled bread. This is such a simple recipe and it's so delicious. What's great about this recipe is you can do the caramelized onions way ahead and then have them ready in the fridge for when you're ready to grill the bread and build the sandwich.
It kind of takes the pressure off the grilling of the steaks because that is the part that we all start to worry about a little bit. Get those caramelized onions done ahead of time so you can focus and drill down into the steak.
Then some of the melted onions go on top. Then some fresh crispy arugula. the top of that bread, and you got yourself a winning sandwich.
Does that not look incredible? Who wouldn't love that? Every single person in the family's loving that.
It's got that incredible charcoal flavor that you really cannot get in any other method of grilling. You have to have that lump charcoal providing that little bit of smokiness. I think that looks fantastic.
The marinade really penetrated that meat. It was garlicky and it was delectable. So succulent, so juicy.
Doesn't get more tender than that.
You can be so proud of yourself that you cut that steak yourself.
Yes.
From the carving of the raw piece of meat to actually slicing into that perfectly cooked steak. It's an incredible process, and it's one of the most fun, most proud cooks that you'll ever do.
Of course, you could get the butcher to do it and it would be easier, but you're not going to feel that sense of satisfaction.
No. Plus, I always like to say, it tastes a whole lot better when your sister feeds it to you.
And then I have to hear chewing in my face.
Sorry, honey.
3, 2, give it your all.
Okay,
give it your all.
hang
I
on.
got you.
Okay, hang on.
No, oh! Okay, new fork.
Get a new fork.
3, 2 for real this time. I believe in you.
Okay.
Go. Oh, no.
So close.
Close.
That was kind of there.
3, 2. Okay, take 87. We need a new fork. This isn't a toss. Yes.